Hello, once again, my brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ. What an honor it is to be with you again today for another Living Hope Today devotional study. Here we are in Exodus chapter 19. Things have been moving along through the book of Exodus. We've seen the deliverance of the people of Israel from the bondage of slavery in Egypt. And they've been wandering around in the desert for about 3 months by the time we get to chapter 19. And today, something really amazing happens. God is giving instruction to the community through Moses about how to get ready to meet with him personally. You know, a lot of us know that God loves us. He knows that we know he established relationship through Jesus Christ, so we can have an intimate, authentic relationship with him. Some of us think like God is our buddy. He's just one of the guys. We're just so happy we can be with him. Well, I don't think we should look at that too casually when we think about our approach to God. Today, we'll see that as the Israelite community prepares to meet with God, it is basically a terrifying experience. Let me show you what I mean. When we get to verse 1 of chapter 19, we read this: in the third month, after the Israelites left Egypt, on the very day they came to the desert of Sinai. Now, we'll be talking about this a little more in just a second, okay? After they set out from Rephidim, they entered the desert of Sinai, and Israel camped there in the desert in front of the mountain. Now, there's a lot of scholarly controversy about where all these things happened. In fact, Mount Sinai itself, there's like 12 different locations that people have proposed that this might happen or might have happened at. So let me just show you this. Here's the map of the Sinai Peninsula, and basically you could draw a circle around that whole peninsula and say that could be the desert of Sinai. Basically, on the left side of the map over there, anything to the left of the Gulf of Suez, that's Egypt. And we know Mount Sinai is probably not over there because the Israelites have left Egypt, okay? But in this center section, and even off to the right in Saudi Arabia, there's great arguments in scholarship for where these places could be. Remember that we saw when we studied this last time, the one theory is that Mount Sinai is here, sort of at the base of the Sinai Peninsula. They're not really sure in this scenario, where did the Israelites cross the Red Sea exactly? How did that work? Where did they stop and rest and those sorts of things? But again, these theories have not been proven by archaeology. There's another theory that the Israelites crossed at Nuweiba there, and that Mount Sinai is over there on the right side of the Gulf of Aqaba. Okay, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here, but I want you to just see a couple things. Back to the map. Okay, so one scholarship idea is that Mount Sinai is there. X marks the spot. But let me show you this picture. This picture is the rock that split at Mount Horeb. You remember in Exodus 17, we were told that Moses hit the rock. They needed water. Water flooded out and of the rock and provided even a volume like rivers for the people of Israel and their animals to drink. Well, look at this rock. This rock is a granite rock that's split. It's on Mount Horeb. There's really no controversy about this place. This is called the rock at Mount Horeb. Okay, so if this is the rock that God instructed Moses to strike and that produced the water, where is this rock? I mean, there's no controversy about where this rock is, whether it is the rock or not. There might be controversy about that, but that rock is over here on the eastern side of the Gulf of Aqaba. Remember, we saw that crossing at Nuweiba was right there. Well, they would say that Mount Sinai is right over there in that region right here. Okay. What will we know about that? Well, one more thing before we get back to the passage. I want you to just look at this picture. This is a picture of the mountainous area just to the south of that rock of Horeb. You see anything about those mountains that looks different? I do. They look charred. They look black. And archaeologists have found that if you chip away a piece of that rock and you look on the other side, it's pink or sandy colored like the rest of the rocks around there. But this rock looks like it's had some sort of fire. And please understand that there's no vegetation. There's nothing that would, combust. What causes these rocks to be black? Well, let's look at the text. Maybe we can get there. Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to the house of Jacob, and what you are to tell the people of Israel. The Lord's on the mountain." Okay, again, the controversy, where's the mountain? But listen, you yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt and how I carried you on eagle's wings. Look how intimate this is. I carried you, all right? I brought you out with my power. I brought you to myself. And God might have said, I brought you to the desert of Sinai. But that's not what he said. I brought you to myself. You belong to me. I want to be with you. I'm calling you. And now look what God says to them. If you obey me fully, there's the if. There's the condition. If you're not willing to meet this condition, then the promises and the statements I'm going to make to your benefit won't apply to you. But if you're willing to make these conditions and meet them, okay, then these promises and blessings that I'm about to decree will apply to you. If you obey me fully, if you keep my covenant, then there's the condition. Out of all nations, you will be my treasured possession. In other words, God is telling the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that I'm choosing you as a people to be my treasured possession. Although the whole earth is mine, I could have chose anybody, but I'm choosing to reveal myself, to bring salvation. I mean, obviously this isn't all stated here, but that'll be the result of God's choice of these people. He said, you will be for me a kingdom of priests. You're going to be for me a holy nation. I'm setting you apart for myself, is what God is saying. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites. Hey, Moses, go down there and tell these people what I'm expressing to you. So Moses went back, summoned the elders of the people, set before them all the words the Lord had commanded him to speak. The people all responded together. Oh, don't you love this? This is perfect. We will do everything the Lord has said. Oh, man, that's a beautiful sentence, isn't it? Hey, we are all in, Moses. Don't worry. We're going to obey God with everything. Just keep telling us what he wants. We're going to do it. So Moses brought their answer back to the Lord. There's no record of a heavenly but there might have been. Okay, in the end, though, God's patience endures. The Lord said to Moses, I am going to come to you in a dense cloud so that the people will hear me speaking with you. Just notice, this isn't like the Spirit's leading Moses to write something down as maybe Isaiah or Jeremiah experienced it. This isn't anything like that. This is direct conversation between God and Moses. I'm going to come to you in a dense cloud so that the people will hear me speaking with you, and will always put their trust in you. Okay, so I'm going to give you some automatic credibility, Moses, because when they hear me talking to you, they're going to understand that you're talking to God. Okay? Then Moses told the people, or told the Lord what the people had said. All right. And the Lord said to Moses, go to the people, consecrate them today. Okay, what does that mean? Set them apart for me, is what God is saying. Have them do what? Have them wash their clothes. Prepare to meet God. This is not a casual, hey, how you doing? This is God himself is going to reveal himself in speaking to Moses in this mountaintop setting. and be ready by the third day. I'll give you 3 days to get this done, Moses, because on that day, the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. You're going to see me come. What does God tell Moses? Look, I'm going to show up, and I need you to put limits for the people around the mountain and tell them, be careful that you do not go up the mountain or touch the foot of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall surely be put to death. Wow. So if you get close to the mountain, you're going to die. Well, why would that be? Well, listen, he shall surely, if you get up there, because you're not going to listen, you're going to do whatever you want, you're surely going to be stoned or shot. You see this? Stoned or shot with arrows. Not a hand is to be laid on him, whether man or animal, he shall not be permitted to live. In other words, don't get near the mountain. Only when the ram's horn sounds a long blast may they go up to the mountain. And after Moses had gone down the mountain to the people, he consecrated them. He washed their clothes. We see Moses doing exactly what God tells him to do. But guess what? Okay, you touch the mountain, you die. Why would that be? Why? Well, watch this. Then he said to the people, prepare yourselves for the third day. Okay, again, we're still in that preparation phase as they consecrate themselves, as they wash their robes. He says, look, you need to be ready for this. Something's going to happen. I want you to abstain from sexual relationship. On the morning of the third day, oh, here we go. There was thunder and lightning with a thick cloud over the mountain and a very loud trumpet blast. What's the response of the people? Hey, buddy, how you doing? No. Everyone in the camp trembled. Fear. What is going on? Now, these people should already understand that God is real. They walk through the sea on dry ground, but here comes a testimony from God to them that they will never forget. Then Moses led the people out of the camp to meet with God. They stood at the foot of the mountain. Mount Sinai was covered with smoke. Well, how does rock turn black? Well, maybe if it's covered with smoke. Maybe if the Lord descends on it with fire. There's nothing to burn, but all of a sudden, if you're touching that mountain, when that fire comes down, guess what? You're going to burn. You're going to die right there. The smoke billowed up from it like smoke from a furnace. The whole mountain trembled violently. This could make the rock black, couldn't it? Just think about it. I know you and I aren't going to solve the archaeological problems of the Middle East here in our little Living Hope today, but it certainly is something to think about. And the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder. And then Moses spoke, and the voice of God answered him. One-on-one dialogue in the presence of the people. The Lord descended to the top of Mount Sinai. Here he comes. And he called Moses to the top of the mountain. So Moses went up, and the Lord said to him, go down and warn the people so they do not force their way through to see the Lord, and many of them perish. Hey, Moses, I made a way for you to get up here, but if anybody else comes, they're going to die. Even the priests. Okay, you think you have special privileges because you're a priest? Hey, if you approach the Lord, you better consecrate yourself, or the Lord will break out against them. Even the religious leadership in the community of Israel has to have great reverence and go through the same procedures everybody else has to go through because God has decreed it, and his presence is so mighty and so awe-struck, powerful, right? Moses said to the Lord, the people cannot come up Mount Sinai because you yourself warned us, put limits around the mountain and set it apart as holy. The Lord replied, go down and bring Aaron up with you. Oh, okay. So one is going to get to come. Bring Aaron up, but the priests and the people must not force their way through to come up to the Lord, or he will break out against them. Again, death is the punishment for disobedience in this chapter. So Moses went down to the people and told them, we are going to now see what God tells Moses as we proceed in the book. But just understand this. The Lord is holy, the Lord is mighty, the Lord is righteous, and the Lord is all powerful. There is no reason for us to be casual with him. Okay, we can rejoice in the fact that we know him, that he's provided a relationship with him. We can pray to him. We know Jesus is like with us like a brother. That's great. And we can take advantage of that intimacy, but we should never lose our reverence for God, because God is a mighty terror whenever he wants to be. So I just want us to get the lesson today. What is it? God is communicating directly with his people. It's awesome, but God has put conditions on it. And we need to make sure we're walking in the light as he is in the light. I pray, church, you have a great day, that you bless other people with the love of God. God bless you. Serve him well today.
Lord, we give you glory. We give you all.